Hey everybody. This video is just to explain really quickly how to fill in the outline because you may or may not have questions on what is necessary for a literary analysis essay. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick walkthrough. So when you are writing any type of argument, which a literary analysis essay is a type of argument, you're making an argument about a text that you're saying X means this, or this theme is important in this text, or this symbol represents this. This is all part of creating an argument. So within your argument, what you want to do always is first in the introduction, grab your audience's attention. So you don't just launch into your point, you want to make sure you reel your audience in and get their attention with a hook. So a creative hook is something that would introduce the general topic, but bring your audience in through some kind of creative means. Traditionally, you might see this in a high school essay as, a definition of a word or something from Webster's dictionary. Don't do that. You want to be a little more creative than that, but bring your audience in. And then you're going to have your fleshed out introduction where you're going to explain the argument that you'll be making with your thesis claim. But also you want to introduce the text that you'll be analyzing. So by author's full name and the full title of the text. And then you want to make sure that you have a thesis claim in your introduction, which is your central argument about that text. So it should be 1 to 2 sentences. It can be more than one sentence. That's perfectly fine. But include those main ideas that you'll be discussing as well. So likely this is the topics of your 3 main idea paragraphs. So for example, if you were going to do Harry Potter, you could say something like, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is heavily focused on the theme of the value of friendship. It also utilizes the symbolism of, of X, Y, and Z to represent a certain concept. And it also uses conflict of man versus self within Harry to demonstrate the difficulties of adolescence, something like that. But then from there, you're going to go into your main ideas. And within each main idea, you want to have a clear topic sentence to start. So for example, in the example I gave you, I would say the theme of friendship, above all else, is vitally important within Harry Potter because it represents X, Y, and Z, or it means X, Y, and Z. And then you will pull in key evidence to support your claims. So for example, I would choose a quote about Hermione saying Harry and Ron were her best friends or something like that. And then you want to make sure that you include analysis around that text, that quote, that explains it to your audience. So that is you not implicitly expecting them to understand the connection, but you explaining that connection. And then make sure you include any additional thoughts or ideas around the text as well. This is where you again flesh out your analysis. So you'd repeat that with, say, 3 main ideas or so, 3 or 4. And then when you get to your conclusion, you want to wrap up your argument in a couple of sentences first. So signal to your audience that you are indeed closing out the argument. And then you want to restate your thesis and your main ideas in new words. So what you're doing is reinforcing the argument that you've created through all of this evidence and analysis that you've input into the main ideas. You are reinforcing that at the end for your audience to prove why your thesis claim is indeed correct. And then you want to close out your argument with a final few sentences. So your conclusion sometimes tends to be the thing that people kind of put off till the end, but you don't want it to be just a sentence or two. You do want it to be substantial, and you want it to wrap up your argument cohesively. Your bibliography in this one should include both the short story that you're analyzing and the outside resources that you might be including. So make sure that you include those correctly. There is, again, that MLA resources guide in week 1 if you're not sure how to cite these different types of resources. But that should give you a quick overview of how to create this outline, and go ahead and move on.